Educate yourself every day for success. Written and published by Echoes of Empowerment. Introduction. What if I told you that the most successful people on the planet, those who break barriers, defy the odds, and create legendary lives, aren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented? They don't have superhuman abilities. They have something far more powerful, a relentless commitment to learning, every single day. Think about it. Every billionaire, every great thinker, every world-class performer, what do they have in common? They never stop upgrading their minds. While the average person wastes time scrolling, complaining, or settling for mediocrity, the successful ones are absorbing knowledge, sharpening their skills, and expanding their minds. Here's the truth. The difference between where you are now and where you want to be is what you know, and how fast you can learn, apply, and adapt. If you don't commit to daily self-education, you're choosing to stay behind while others race ahead. But if you make learning your ultimate weapon, nothing can stop you. In this video, I'll show you the 7 most powerful ways to educate yourself daily and completely transform your life. If you're ready to unlock your hidden potential, expand your intelligence, and rise above the competition, stay with me until the end. Because what you learn today will determine where you stand tomorrow. Chapter 1. Destroy mental blind spots. See what others can't. Most people go through life unaware of the invisible walls that hold them back. These walls are not physical. They are mental barriers created by limiting beliefs, societal conditioning, and unquestioned assumptions. From a young age, we are told how to think, what to believe, and what is possible for us. Without realizing it, many people accept these beliefs as absolute truths, never stopping to question whether they are even real. They follow the same routines, make the same choices, and live within the limits set by others, never knowing that they are capable of much more. The first step to true education, the kind that transforms your life, is to break free from these mental blind spots. You must train yourself to see beyond what you have been taught, to challenge assumptions, and to expand your awareness. Start by questioning everything. Ask yourself, why do I think the way I do? Where did my beliefs come from? Are they truly mine, or were they handed to me by society, my family, or my environment? If you never challenge the ideas you were raised with, you may be living inside an invisible cage, one that stops you from reaching your full potential. For example, think about success. Many people believe that success means having a stable job, owning a house, and saving for retirement. But who defined success that way? What if success, for you, means freedom? Freedom to travel, to create, to live on your own terms. Similarly, ideas about happiness, intelligence, and failure are often shaped by external influences. Society tells you that failing is bad, that you should avoid making mistakes. But what if failure is actually the fastest way to learn? What if the people who succeed the most are also the ones who have failed the most? To break free from mental blind spots, you need to expose yourself to new perspectives. Read books that challenge your thinking. Study philosophy to learn different ways of interpreting life. Explore psychology to understand how your mind has been shaped. Learn history to see how ideas and beliefs have evolved over time. Surround yourself with people who think differently from you, who ask deep questions, who refuse to accept things at face value. When you begin to see what others don't, you gain an advantage they will never have. You start thinking independently, making decisions based on knowledge rather than assumptions. You become aware of the invisible forces that shape people's thoughts, actions, and lives. This awareness gives you power, the power to choose your own beliefs, to rewrite your own story, and to create a life that is truly yours. Education is not just about gathering information. It's about unlearning the limitations you have been taught, expanding your perception, and developing the ability to think critically. The moment you start questioning everything, you will begin to see a world that most people will never even realize exists. And that is the first step toward real success. Chapter 2. Turn every day into a masterclass. Extract wisdom from the world around you. Education is not something that happens only in classrooms, through textbooks, or inside lecture halls. The most successful people in the world have mastered the art of learning from life itself. They don't wait for knowledge to come to them. They actively seek it out in every experience, every conversation, and every challenge they face. They understand that the world is a living, breathing classroom, and if you pay attention, it will teach you everything you need to know to succeed. Most people go through life without realizing how much knowledge is available to them. They rely only on traditional education, thinking that once they finish school or get a degree, their learning is complete. This mindset is dangerous because it leads to stagnation. True education never stops. It is a lifelong journey, and the world around you is always offering new lessons, if you are willing to see them. Start by paying close attention to the people around you. Observe successful individuals, how they speak, how they carry themselves, how they make decisions. Listen carefully to their words, watch their habits, and notice how they solve problems. If you work a job, don't just show up to collect a paycheck. Study the leaders in your workplace, understand how businesses operate, and learn what makes someone stand out. If you are an entrepreneur, pay attention to how customers think, how markets change, and how the best companies stay ahead of the curve. Failures and mistakes are some of the greatest teachers, but most people fear them. Instead of avoiding failure, analyze it. Every mistake contains a lesson. Ask yourself, what went wrong? What could I have done differently? How can I use this experience to improve? Some of the greatest minds in history, Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, Steve Jobs, achieved greatness not because they never failed, but because they learned from their failures better than anyone else. Another powerful way to turn your life into a masterclass is by being deeply curious about everything. Ask questions constantly. Why do things work the way they do? Why do people behave in certain ways? Why are some people wealthy while others struggle financially? The more questions you ask, the more answers you will find. And the more answers you find, the smarter and more capable you become. Make a habit of actively learning from every experience. If you have a conversation with someone knowledgeable, take notes afterward and reflect on what you learned. If you read a book, don't just finish it. Apply its lessons in your daily life. If you watch a documentary, discuss it with others to deepen your understanding. Learning is not passive. It is an active process that requires engagement and effort. Technology has made it easier than ever to educate yourself daily. You have access to online courses, podcasts, audiobooks, and interviews with some of the most brilliant minds in the world. Instead of spending hours mindlessly scrolling on social media, use that time to watch educational content, listen to thought-provoking discussions, and absorb valuable information. Turn every idle moment into a chance to expand your mind. When you make a conscious effort to extract wisdom from everything around you, you start seeing patterns that others don't. You gain insights that give you an advantage in life. You develop the ability to think critically, adapt quickly, and make smarter decisions. And most importantly, you never stop growing. Your education is not limited to a classroom or a degree. The world is your teacher. Every day is a lesson, and the more you learn, the more powerful you become. Chapter 3. Hack the power of deep learning, one skill at a time. Most people go through life skimming the surface of knowledge, gathering bits and pieces of information without ever truly mastering anything. They learn just enough to get by, just enough to sound knowledgeable in conversations, just enough to do their job. But there is a difference between knowing something and mastering it. The world's top achievers, whether in business, science, sports, or the arts, didn't get there by being average at many things. They became exceptional by going deep into one skill at a time, mastering it until it became second nature. Deep learning is the ability to focus intensely on a single skill, concept, or discipline until you understand it at a profound level. It is the opposite of shallow learning, where you skim through multiple topics without truly grasping any of them. When you commit to deep learning, you don't just memorize facts. You internalize knowledge, develop expertise, and build a foundation that allows you to innovate and think differently. The first step to deep learning is to identify a skill that has the potential to transform your life. This could be something that enhances your career, builds your financial future, or improves your personal growth. The key is to pick one thing at a time. Many people make the mistake of trying to learn too many things simultaneously, jumping from one book to another, taking multiple courses, and never fully mastering anything. This scattered approach leads to frustration and lack of real progress. Instead, choose one skill that aligns with your goals and commit to it fully. Once you've chosen your skill, immerse yourself completely. Make it part of your daily routine. Set aside dedicated time every day to learn, practice, and refine your understanding. If you're learning a new language, don't just study vocabulary. Listen to native speakers, practice conversations, and write daily. If you're mastering public speaking, don't just watch speeches. Stand in front of a mirror, record yourself, and practice relentlessly. Repetition is the key to mastery. The more you engage with a skill, the more deeply it becomes ingrained in your mind. One of the most effective ways to accelerate deep learning is through active engagement. Many people approach learning passively. They read books, watch videos, or attend lectures without ever putting their knowledge into action. This is not enough. The real power of learning comes from doing. If you're learning to code, build real projects. If you're studying business, start a side hustle. If you want to master negotiation, practice in real-life situations. Engagement turns knowledge into experience, and experience leads to expertise. Another critical factor in deep learning is deliberate practice. This means focusing on improving specific aspects of a skill rather than just repeating the same things over and over. For example, if you're learning to play the guitar, don't just practice the songs you're already good at. Focus on the difficult sections, break them down into smaller parts, and refine your technique. If you're learning public speaking, record yourself, analyze your tone and body language, and improve where necessary. The key is to push yourself outside your comfort zone, challenge your weaknesses, and refine your abilities with precision. In addition to practice, seek feedback from experts. Find mentors, coaches, or experienced individuals who can guide you, point out your blind spots, and help you accelerate your growth. Many people try to learn in isolation, but the fastest way to improve is to learn from those who have already mastered the skill. A great mentor can save you years of trial and error by giving you insights that books and courses won't teach you. Another powerful deep learning technique is the Feynman method, named after the famous physicist Richard Feynman. The idea is simple. If you can't explain what you're learning in simple, clear terms, then you don't truly understand it. Try breaking down complex concepts and explaining them in a way that even a child could grasp. If you struggle to simplify an idea, go back and study it again until you can. Teaching others is also a great way to reinforce your learning. When you explain something, you deepen your own understanding. One of the biggest obstacles to deep learning is distraction. In a world filled with endless notifications, social media, and entertainment, maintaining focus has become a challenge. If you truly want to master a skill, you must create an environment that supports deep focus. Eliminate distractions during your study sessions. Set clear goals and time limits. Use techniques like the Pomodoro method. Work in focused intervals and take short breaks to recharge. The more focused your learning sessions, the faster you will progress. It's also important to remember that deep learning requires patience and persistence. In the early stages, progress may seem slow and frustration will be inevitable. But mastery is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. The people who achieve greatness are the ones who stick with it, even when progress feels invisible. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master once struggled. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the willingness to keep going, no matter how difficult the journey. Celebrate small wins along the way. Deep learning is a long-term investment, and motivation can fade if you don't acknowledge your progress. Track your improvement, reflect on how far you've come, and reward yourself for milestones achieved. Every step forward is a sign that you are becoming stronger, wiser, and more skilled. Deep learning is not just about gaining knowledge, it's about transforming yourself. When you commit to mastering one skill at a time, you develop discipline, focus, and resilience. You gain confidence in your abilities, and you build a foundation for lifelong success. The world belongs to those who are willing to go beyond surface-level learning and immerse themselves in mastery. Choose your skill, commit to it, and watch how it changes your life. Chapter 4. Upgrade your mental software. Rewire how you think. Your mind is like a powerful computer. It processes information, runs programs, and controls how you interpret and respond to the world. But just like any computer, your mind can become outdated if you don't upgrade it. Many people live their entire lives running on old mental software, beliefs, habits, and thought patterns that were installed during childhood, shaped by society, or influenced by outdated ideas. They continue operating with the same limiting mindset, unaware that they have the power to rewrite their programming and completely transform their reality. If you feel stuck in life, if success seems out of reach, or if negative thoughts constantly hold you back, it's time for a mental upgrade. You must rewire your brain to think differently, to break free from limiting beliefs, develop new thought patterns, and create a mindset that propels you towards success. The way you think determines everything in your life. Your thoughts influence your actions, your decisions, and your results. Change your thoughts, and you change your future. The first step in upgrading your mental software is to identify and eliminate limiting beliefs. These are the invisible barriers that control how you see yourself and the world. Maybe you believe that you're not smart enough, not talented enough, or not lucky enough to achieve success. Maybe you've been told that success is only for certain people, or that money is evil, or that failure is something to be ashamed of. Where did these beliefs come from? Are they really true? Most of the time, these beliefs were never ours to begin with. They were given to us by society, our upbringing, or past experiences. But just because you once believed something doesn't mean you have to keep believing it. Challenge these beliefs. Replace them with empowering ones. Instead of saying, "I'm not good at this," start saying, "I can learn this." Instead of thinking, "I always fail," tell yourself, "Every failure is a lesson that brings me closer to success." Your brain listens to the words you speak and the thoughts you repeat. If you constantly feed it negativity, it will reinforce those patterns. But if you train it to focus on growth, possibility, and resilience, it will adapt and reprogram itself accordingly. Another powerful way to rewire your mind is by exposing yourself to new ideas. Just like a computer needs new updates to stay efficient, your brain needs new knowledge, new perspectives, and new ways of thinking to evolve. Read books that expand your mind. Study successful people and how they think. Listen to podcasts that challenge your views. Engage in deep conversations with people who think differently than you. The more perspectives you expose yourself to, the more your mind stretches, adapts, and grows. One of the most effective techniques for upgrading your mental software is neuroplasticity training. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. This means that you can literally rewire your brain to think in a more powerful way. To do this, you must consistently reinforce positive thought patterns. Practice visualization. Imagine yourself succeeding, overcoming challenges, and achieving your goals. Use affirmations. Speak empowering words to yourself every day. Challenge automatic negative thoughts. When your mind says, "I can't," replace it with, "I will find a way." Over time, these repeated mental exercises reprogram your brain to work for you instead of against you. Another essential step in upgrading your mental software is to break free from toxic influences. Your environment plays a massive role in shaping your thoughts. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, whether from social media, news, or the people around you, your mind will absorb and reflect that negativity. Pay attention to what you consume. Are you feeding your brain with inspiring, high-quality content, or are you filling it with fear, gossip, and distractions? Be selective about the people you spend time with. Surround yourself with those who uplift, challenge, and inspire you to be better. Your habits also play a crucial role in rewiring your brain. Your daily routines shape your thinking patterns. If you wake up every day and immediately check your phone, scrolling through negativity, you are training your mind to be reactive instead of proactive. Instead, start your mornings with powerful habits. Read, write down your goals, practice gratitude, meditate, or exercise. These small actions reinforce a strong mindset over time. Your habits are your mental training. Choose them wisely. Another technique for mental upgrading is embracing discomfort. Growth happens outside your comfort zone. Many people stay stuck in the same thought patterns because they never push themselves into new experiences. If you want to think differently, you must act differently. Challenge yourself to try new things, take risks, and embrace change. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, your brain forms new connections, expanding its capacity to handle challenges and develop resilience. Your inner dialogue, the way you talk to yourself, also plays a major role in shaping your mental software. If you constantly criticize yourself, doubt yourself, or replay past failures, you are reinforcing negative programming. But if you practice self-compassion, encouragement, and a growth mindset, you create a foundation for confidence and success. Instead of saying, "I'm not good at this," say, "I am learning and improving every day." Instead of thinking, "I always mess up," remind yourself, "Every mistake is making me stronger." Your words are programming commands to your brain. Use them wisely. Remember that upgrading your mental software is a lifelong process. Just like technology is always evolving, your mind should always be evolving too. Never stop learning, never stop questioning, never stop growing. Every day is a chance to rewire your mind for greater success, deeper wisdom, and unstoppable confidence. Your thoughts create your reality. The more you refine and upgrade your mental software, the more control you gain over your future. The best version of yourself is waiting, but it starts with how you think today. Upgrade your mind, and your life will follow. Chapter 5. Surround yourself with higher frequencies, the people who expand your mind. Your environment has a direct impact on your growth. The people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, and the energy you surround yourself with all influence the way you think, the way you act, and ultimately, the person you become. If you want to elevate your life, you must first elevate the people around you. Most people underestimate how much their environment shapes their mindset. Imagine trying to grow a powerful tree in poor soil. It won't reach its full potential, no matter how much sunlight and water it receives. The same principle applies to your mind. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, small thinking, and mediocrity, it will be almost impossible to rise above those limitations. On the other hand, if you immerse yourself in an environment filled with ambition, curiosity, and high-level thinking, you will naturally elevate your own mindset and capabilities. The first step in surrounding yourself with higher frequencies is to evaluate your current environment. Take a close look at the people in your life. Are they pushing you forward or holding you back? Are your conversations filled with new ideas, challenges, and growth? Or are they centered around complaints, gossip, and stagnation? Many people remain stuck in toxic cycles because they are afraid to outgrow the people around them. But the truth is, if your environment isn't helping you grow, it's keeping you small. One of the biggest mindset shifts you can make is realizing that you are not obligated to keep people in your life just because they've always been there. If someone is constantly bringing negativity, doubting your dreams, or making you feel like success isn't possible, you have every right to distance yourself. You don't have to cut people off completely, but you must be intentional about how much time and energy you give to certain relationships. The people who truly care about your growth will support your journey. The ones who resist it were never meant to go where you're headed. Surrounding yourself with high-level thinkers doesn't just mean finding successful people. It means finding people who challenge you, inspire you, and force you to expand your perspective. These are the people who ask deep questions, who introduce you to new ways of thinking, who make you uncomfortable in the best way possible. When you're around people who think bigger, you naturally start thinking bigger too. Their energy raises your standards. Their ambition fuels your own. Their success shows you what's possible. So how do you find these people? Seek out environments that attract growth-minded individuals. Join mastermind groups, attend networking events, engage in online communities focused on personal development. Read books and listen to podcasts from visionaries who inspire you, because even if you can't meet them in person, their ideas will shape your mindset. Invest in mentorship. Learning from someone who has already achieved what you want can fast-track your success in ways you can't imagine. Never be the smartest person in the room. Always put yourself in environments where you feel challenged, where you feel like there's so much to learn, where you feel pushed to level up. Another powerful way to elevate your environment is through the power of association. You don't always have to personally know successful people to be influenced by them. Start following thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators whose mindset aligns with your goals. Engage with their content, study their habits, analyze their decisions. The more you immerse yourself in their world, the more their mindset becomes part of your own. Your subconscious mind absorbs the energy of whatever you expose it to. Make sure you're feeding it high-quality influences. It's also crucial to recognize that surrounding yourself with higher frequencies is not just about external influences, it's also about the energy you bring into your own life. If you want to attract intelligent, ambitious, and high-level thinkers, you need to become one yourself. Work on your mindset, improve your skills, be the type of person that other successful individuals want to be around. Like attracts like. So if you want to be in the company of greatness, you must cultivate greatness within yourself first. One of the greatest benefits of surrounding yourself with higher frequencies is that it accelerates your learning and growth. When you're around people who are constantly leveling up, you naturally absorb their habits, their mindset, their way of thinking. You start seeing challenges as opportunities. You develop a stronger work ethic. You gain access to ideas and strategies that you wouldn't have discovered on your own. Your progress multiplies simply by being in the right environment. However, keep in mind that growth can feel lonely at times. When you start evolving, not everyone will understand your journey. Some people will doubt you. Some will try to pull you back to who you used to be. This is a test. It's a sign that you are stepping into a new level of yourself. Stay focused, keep learning, keep growing. Eventually, you will attract the right people, the ones who are on the same journey of growth and excellence. The truth is, your potential is limitless, but your environment will either unlock it or suffocate it. Choose wisely. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, push you, and challenge you to be better. Seek out higher frequencies. Elevate your circle, because when you do, you won't just grow, you'll transform. Chapter 6. Teach to grow. Turn knowledge into power. One of the most powerful ways to solidify your knowledge and accelerate your personal growth is to teach what you learn. Most people consume information passively. They read books, watch videos, take courses, and think that simply absorbing knowledge is enough. But true mastery comes when you take that knowledge, break it down, and explain it to others. Teaching transforms information into wisdom, and wisdom into power. When you teach, you force yourself to understand concepts on a deeper level. It's easy to think you know something when you're just listening or reading, but when you try to explain it to someone else, you quickly realize where your understanding is weak. Teaching exposes gaps in your knowledge, pushes you to refine your thinking, and forces you to articulate ideas in a way that makes sense. This process strengthens your comprehension and embeds the knowledge into your long-term memory. Teaching doesn't have to mean standing in front of a classroom or leading a seminar. It can be as simple as explaining a concept to a friend, writing about what you've learned, or sharing insights on social media. The act of putting your thoughts into words forces your brain to organize information, structure it logically, and find connections between different ideas. This process deepens your learning far more than passive study ever could. One of the most effective learning techniques in history is the Feynman technique, named after the legendary physicist Richard Feynman. His method was simple. If you can't explain something in simple terms, you don't truly understand it. When you teach, challenge yourself to explain the topic as if you were teaching a child. Break it down into simple, clear language. If you struggle to do so, go back and study it again until you can. This process forces you to strip away unnecessary complexity, clarify your thoughts, and develop a true mastery of the subject. Another major benefit of teaching is that it enhances your confidence and communication skills. Many people hesitate to share their knowledge because they feel like they aren't experts yet. But the truth is, you don't need to be an expert to teach. You just need to be one step ahead of someone else. When you share what you've learned, you develop the ability to express ideas clearly, engage with others, and lead conversations. These skills are invaluable in every area of life, whether it's business, relationships, or personal growth. Teaching also opens up opportunities. When you position yourself as someone who shares valuable knowledge, people start seeing you as a source of wisdom and insight. This can lead to mentorship opportunities, collaborations, leadership roles, and even business prospects. Many of the most successful people in the world, entrepreneurs, authors, speakers, built their influence simply by teaching what they knew. The more you give, the more you grow. The more you share, the more valuable you become. In addition, teaching others creates a positive ripple effect. When you share knowledge, you're not just helping yourself, you're empowering others to grow as well. Imagine if every person took what they learned and passed it on. The impact would be exponential. You never know how a single insight could change someone's life, inspire them to take action, or set them on a new path of success. Your words have power. Use them to uplift and educate those around you. One of the most effective ways to incorporate teaching into your daily routine is through journaling or content creation. Write about what you've learned, summarize key insights, and reflect on how the knowledge applies to your life. Start a blog, record a video, or simply post thought-provoking ideas on social media. When you put your thoughts into the world, you reinforce your learning, refine your ideas, and attract like-minded individuals who share your passion for growth. Another powerful strategy is to teach through mentoring. Find someone who is just starting out on the path you're walking and offer to guide them. This could be a younger colleague, a student, a friend, or even a stranger through online mentorship. The act of helping someone else navigate challenges and develop skills forces you to stay sharp, continuously learn, and develop leadership abilities. Mentorship is a two-way street. The more you give, the more you gain. If you want to maximize the impact of teaching, focus on active learning rather than passive repetition. Many teachers simply repeat information without adding depth, but true mastery comes when you challenge yourself to go deeper. Instead of just explaining what you learned, ask deeper questions, explore real-world applications, and encourage discussion. Engage with different perspectives, debate ideas, and explore alternative viewpoints. The more interactive and dynamic your teaching process, the stronger your understanding will become. It's also important to remember that teaching is not just about passing down information, it's about inspiring transformation. The best teachers don't just deliver facts, they ignite curiosity, encourage action, and make learning engaging. Think about the teachers, mentors, or speakers who have had the biggest impact on you. What made them different? They likely made the subject come alive, related it to real life, and made you excited about learning. Strive to be that kind of teacher in everything you share. Another key lesson is that teaching should be an ongoing practice. Just as learning never stops, neither should sharing knowledge. Make it a habit to teach something every day, even if it's just a small insight. Share ideas with your co-workers, your friends, your online audience, or even just with yourself through journaling. The more you integrate teaching into your daily routine, the more naturally it becomes part of your identity. Understand that teaching accelerates your growth because it holds you accountable to higher standards. When you know that you'll be sharing knowledge with others, you naturally push yourself to learn more, stay disciplined, and deepen your understanding. You become more intentional about your education because you're not just learning for yourself, you're learning to empower others. The act of teaching is one of the most powerful forces for personal growth. It strengthens your knowledge, sharpens your thinking, builds confidence, and creates lasting impact. Every time you share what you know, you grow. Every time you teach, you transform. And in doing so, you don't just become more knowledgeable, you become more valuable to the world. Teach to grow, and watch your power multiply. Chapter 7. Make learning your identity. Become the ultimate student of life. The most successful and fulfilled people in the world share one common trait. They never stop learning. They don't see education as something that ends after school or when they achieve a certain goal. Instead, they make lifelong learning part of their identity. They treat knowledge like oxygen, essential, continuous, and non-negotiable. If you want to reach your highest potential, you must embrace this same mindset. Learning must become who you are, not just something you do occasionally. The problem is that most people stop learning the moment they no longer have to. Once they finish school or settle into a job, they believe they know enough to get by. But this mindset is a trap that leads to stagnation. The world is constantly evolving, new opportunities are emerging, and the people who thrive are the ones who continue to grow. If you are not learning, you are falling behind. To make learning your identity, you must shift your mindset from passive to active learning. Passive learners wait for knowledge to come to them. They rely on school systems, job training, or occasional exposure to new information. Active learners, on the other hand, seek out knowledge relentlessly. They read books not because they have to, but because they want to. They ask questions, explore new ideas, and challenge themselves to expand their understanding every single day. They don't need an external reason to learn. They learn because it's part of who they are. One of the first steps in becoming a lifelong learner is to develop an insatiable curiosity. The most brilliant minds in history, people like Leonardo da Vinci, Elon Musk, and Albert Einstein, were driven by an intense curiosity about the world. They asked questions that others ignored. They explored subjects far outside their comfort zones. They didn't just accept things at face value. They dug deeper, experimented, and sought to understand how things truly worked. To cultivate this level of curiosity, start questioning everything around you. Why do things work the way they do? What are the hidden forces driving success, failure, happiness, and innovation? How do the most accomplished people think differently from everyone else? The more questions you ask, the more doors you open to deeper understanding. Curiosity fuels learning, and learning fuels growth. Another key to making learning your identity is to immerse yourself in knowledge every single day. The people who grow the fastest are the ones who treat education as a daily habit. Just like exercising strengthens your body, continuous learning strengthens your mind. Make reading a daily ritual. Listen to podcasts that challenge your thinking. Watch documentaries. Take online courses. Engage in thought-provoking discussions. Expose yourself to new ideas every day, and over time, your mind will transform. But learning isn't just about consuming information. It's about applying what you learn. Many people fall into the trap of being intellectual collectors. They read dozens of books, watch countless videos, and absorb tons of knowledge, but they never actually use it. This is wasted potential. True learning happens when you take action. If you read a book about productivity, implement the strategies. If you study communication skills, start practicing them in conversations. Knowledge without action is just potential. Knowledge with action is power. Another powerful way to accelerate lifelong learning is to surround yourself with people who push you to grow. Your environment shapes your mindset. If you spend time with people who are constantly learning, setting goals, and striving for more, you will naturally adopt those habits. But if you surround yourself with people who never challenge themselves, who resist new ideas, and who settle for mediocrity, you will struggle to maintain your momentum. Choose your circle wisely. Your future depends on it. One of the most underestimated aspects of continuous learning is embracing failure as a learning tool. Many people avoid failure because they associate it with defeat. But the truth is, the fastest way to learn is through mistakes. Every setback carries a lesson. Every wrong decision sharpens your judgment. Instead of fearing failure, study it, analyze it, use it to improve. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who avoided failure. They are the ones who learned from it faster than everyone else. If you want to make learning a permanent part of your life, you must also develop the ability to adapt and evolve. The world is changing at an unprecedented pace. Industries are shifting, new technologies are emerging, and what worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. The ability to unlearn and relearn is just as important as learning itself. Be flexible in your thinking. Stay open to new perspectives. Never assume you know everything, because the moment you do, you stop growing. A great strategy for staying adaptable is to regularly challenge your own beliefs. Most people hold on to their opinions and worldviews without ever questioning them. But if you want to be a true learner, you must be willing to re-examine what you believe. Read books that challenge your perspective. Engage in debates with people who think differently than you. Be open to being wrong, because that is how you expand your mind. Another powerful learning technique is to teach what you know. As discussed in the previous chapter, the best way to deepen your understanding of a subject is to explain it to someone else. Teaching forces you to break down complex ideas, simplify them, and articulate them clearly. Whether you mentor someone, write about your insights, or share your knowledge in conversations, teaching transforms information into wisdom. Consistency is the key to making learning your identity. It's not about learning in bursts, it's about making it a lifelong commitment. Just as a musician practices daily or an athlete trains consistently, you must cultivate the habit of daily learning. It doesn't have to be hours each day. Even 20 minutes of focused learning can compound into massive growth over time. The key is never stopping. To stay motivated, track your learning progress. Keep a journal where you write down new insights, skills you're developing, and lessons you've learned. Reflect on how much you've grown over time. Seeing your progress will inspire you to keep pushing forward. Understand that learning is not just about success, it's about fulfillment. The happiest, most fulfilled people are the ones who continue expanding their minds, exploring new ideas, and evolving as individuals. Stagnation leads to boredom and frustration. Growth leads to excitement and endless possibilities. When you make learning part of your identity, everything in your life improves. Your mind becomes sharper. Your decisions become wiser. Your confidence grows. You gain the ability to create opportunities instead of waiting for them. You become adaptable, resilient, and unstoppable. The world belongs to those who never stop learning. If you make personal growth a lifelong commitment, there will be no limits to what you can achieve. Become a student of life, and you will always stay ahead. Chapter 8. Turn learning into a superpower. Master the art of self-education. In a world where information is more accessible than ever, the ability to educate yourself is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. The people who achieve the highest levels of success are not necessarily the ones with the best formal education. They are the ones who have mastered the art of self-education. They don't wait for permission to learn. They don't rely solely on schools, teachers, or structured curriculums. Instead, they take full control of their own learning process, continuously expanding their knowledge, sharpening their skills, and staying ahead of the curve. Most people assume that education stops when formal schooling ends, but this is a dangerous mindset. The reality is that self-education is the key to staying relevant, adaptable, and powerful in an ever-changing world. The most successful people understand that learning is a lifelong process, and they commit to it with the same intensity that others commit to their jobs or businesses. They know that every skill they acquire, every book they read, and every new insight they gain increases their ability to succeed. To turn learning into a superpower, the first step is to develop a system for self-education. Many people want to learn more, but they don't have a clear plan, so they get overwhelmed or lose motivation. The key is to create a structured approach that makes learning consistent, engaging, and effective. Start by identifying the areas of knowledge that will bring the greatest value to your life, whether it's finance, psychology, leadership, business, health, communication, or any other subject that aligns with your goals. Once you've identified the key areas you want to master, immerse yourself in them deeply. Don't just passively read or watch content. Actively engage with the material. Take notes, summarize key insights, and apply what you learn in real life. The most powerful learners do not just consume information, they absorb it, reflect on it, and turn it into action. One of the fastest ways to accelerate self-education is to become a relentless reader. The world's top thinkers, innovators, and visionaries all have one habit in common. They read every day. Warren Buffett reads 500 pages a day. Bill Gates reads about 50 books a year. Elon Musk taught himself rocket science by reading books. Reading gives you direct access to the minds of the greatest thinkers who have ever lived. It allows you to learn from their successes, avoid their mistakes, and gain insights that would otherwise take decades to acquire. But reading alone is not enough. You must also engage in experiential learning. This means actively applying what you learn in real-world situations. If you're studying business, start a side project. If you're learning a new language, have conversations with native speakers. If you're studying public speaking, put yourself in situations where you must speak in front of an audience. Experience deepens learning more than any book ever can. Another essential strategy is to leverage modern technology for learning. Today, knowledge is more accessible than at any other point in history. You can take courses from top universities online, watch in-depth lectures on YouTube, listen to educational podcasts, and access high-level discussions on platforms like TED Talks and Masterclass. There are no excuses for not learning. Everything you need to grow is at your fingertips. The key is to be intentional and disciplined about how you use these resources. One of the most overlooked aspects of self-education is learning from people. Too many people rely solely on books and courses, but ignore the vast amount of knowledge that can be gained from conversations, mentorship, and networking. Find people who are ahead of you in the areas you want to master and learn from them. This could mean reaching out to mentors, joining mastermind groups, attending seminars, or even just surrounding yourself with intelligent and ambitious individuals. Being in the right conversations accelerates learning in ways that no textbook can. Self-education is also about learning how to think, not just what to think. The most powerful minds don't just collect facts. They develop the ability to analyze, synthesize, and apply knowledge in creative ways. Train yourself to think critically, ask deep questions, and challenge assumptions. Don't just accept information at face value. Dig deeper, cross-check sources, and form your own conclusions. The ability to think independently is one of the greatest advantages you can have in today's world. Another crucial aspect of turning learning into a superpower is developing a habit of reflection. Many people consume massive amounts of information, but never take the time to reflect on what they've learned. Reflection is what turns raw knowledge into wisdom. Make it a habit to regularly review what you've learned. Think about how it applies to your life and refine your understanding. This could be through journaling, discussing ideas with others, or simply taking quiet time to think deeply. One of the biggest challenges people face in self-education is staying consistent. It's easy to feel motivated at the start, but without discipline, most people lose momentum. The key is to integrate learning into your daily routine. Just as you eat, sleep, and exercise, make learning a non-negotiable part of your day. Even if it's just 30 minutes of focused study, Small daily actions compound into massive long-term results. Another way to maintain motivation is to measure your progress. Keep track of the books you've read, the skills you've developed, and the insights you've gained. Looking back on your progress will remind you how much you've grown and will inspire you to keep pushing forward. Understand that the true power of learning is not just in what you gain, it's in what you become. The more you educate yourself, the more confident, capable, and independent you become. You start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. You develop the ability to solve complex problems, adapt to change, and make better decisions. You become the type of person who creates their own success, rather than waiting for it. At the end of the day, knowledge is power, but only if you use it. Make learning your identity, take full ownership of your education, and commit to growing every single day. Because the more you learn, the more you elevate your life. And the best part, there are no limits to how far you can go. Chapter 9. Reprogram your mind for success. Master the psychology of growth. Success is not just about talent, skills, or opportunities. It is about how you think. Your mind is the control center of everything you do, and the way you program it determines whether you succeed or stay stuck. Most people live their lives operating on autopilot, running on outdated mental programming that limits their potential. They allow fear, doubt, and negative self-talk to dictate their choices, never realizing that they have the power to rewire their mindset for growth, confidence, and unstoppable success. If you want to transform your life, you must start by transforming your mental programming. Just like a computer, your brain runs on a set of beliefs, habits, and thought patterns. Many of these were installed during childhood, shaped by society, or influenced by past experiences. But here's the truth. Just because you have a certain mindset now doesn't mean you have to keep it. You can upgrade your mental software and build a mindset that works for you instead of against you. The first step in reprogramming your mind for success is to identify and eliminate limiting beliefs. These are the invisible chains that hold people back, the deeply ingrained thoughts that whisper, "I'm not good enough," "I don't deserve success," or "I'll never be able to do that." These beliefs feel real, but they are nothing more than mental illusions. They were formed through repeated thoughts, reinforced by experiences, and accepted as truth. But beliefs can be changed. To break free from limiting beliefs, start by questioning them. Where did these thoughts come from? Are they based on facts or just old stories you've been telling yourself? Every time a negative belief comes up, challenge it. Replace "I can't" with "I'm learning." Replace "I'm not smart enough" with "I can develop this skill." Your mind will believe whatever you tell it consistently, so start feeding it empowering beliefs. One of the most powerful ways to reprogram your mind is through affirmations and visualization. Your brain responds to repeated messages, whether they are positive or negative. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm not confident," your brain will accept it as a fact. But if you repeatedly affirm, "I am strong, capable, and resilient," your brain will start to align with that belief. The key is repetition. Retrain your mind by feeding it empowering thoughts every single day. Visualization is another powerful tool. High performers, athletes, CEOs, artists, all use visualization to create success. Before something happens in reality, it happens in the mind. If you can see yourself succeeding, overcoming challenges, and achieving your goals, your brain starts working toward making that vision real. Every day, take a few minutes to close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself winning, feeling the success, experiencing the results, and stepping into the best version of yourself. This is not fantasy. It's mental training that primes your brain for success. Another crucial part of mental reprogramming is controlling your inner dialogue. Most people talk to themselves in a way they would never talk to a friend. They criticize, doubt, and tear themselves down. Your self-talk shapes your confidence, your decisions, and your entire reality. Start becoming aware of how you speak to yourself. Replace self-criticism with encouragement. Instead of saying, "I always fail," say, "I am learning and growing." Instead of thinking, "I don't have what it takes," remind yourself, "I have the ability to improve and succeed." The words you repeat to yourself become your identity. Choose them wisely. Another key factor in reprogramming your mind is changing your relationship with failure. Most people see failure as something to be avoided, something shameful. But in reality, failure is the fastest way to grow. The most successful people in the world have failed more times than the average person has even tried. They don't fear failure. They use it as feedback. Instead of letting failure break them, they analyze what went wrong, adjust their approach, and come back stronger. Rewire your mind to see failure as part of the process, not the end of the journey. To reinforce a mindset of success, surround yourself with high-achieving, growth-oriented people. Your environment has a massive influence on your mental programming. If you are surrounded by people who complain, make excuses, and stay stuck in mediocrity, their mindset will seep into yours. But if you spend time with people who challenge themselves, push boundaries, and strive for greatness, their energy will elevate you. Find mentors, engage with inspiring content, and immerse yourself in an environment that reinforces success. One of the most underrated tools for mental reprogramming is gratitude. Your brain is wired to focus on problems, threats, and what's missing. This survival instinct kept humans alive in ancient times, but in today's world, it often leads to stress, anxiety, and a scarcity mindset. Gratitude flips this switch. When you train yourself to focus on what you already have, what's going well, and what you're capable of, your mind shifts from scarcity to abundance. Every day, take a moment to write down or reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. Over time, this rewires your brain to see possibilities instead of obstacles. Another important principle of mental reprogramming is taking full responsibility for your life. Many people blame external circumstances for their lack of success, their upbringing, the economy, other people. But as long as you blame something outside yourself, you give away your power. The moment you take full responsibility for where you are and where you're going, you take back control. You stop waiting for things to change and start making them change. Your mindset shifts from being a victim of circumstances to being the creator of your future. To accelerate your mental reprogramming, consume high-quality knowledge every day. The books you read, the podcasts you listen to, and the conversations you have all shape your thinking. If you fill your mind with wisdom, strategies, and insights from successful people, you start thinking like them. If you fill your mind with distractions, negativity, and meaningless content, you stay stuck in the same patterns. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant in it will grow. Make sure you're planting the right seeds. Understand that reprogramming your mind is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. Just like going to the gym strengthens your body, mental conditioning strengthens your mind. Every day, reinforce empowering beliefs, visualize success, speak to yourself with confidence, and take bold action toward your goals. Over time, these habits become second nature, and you develop an unstoppable mindset. At the end of the day, your mind is the most powerful tool you have. It can be your greatest asset or your biggest obstacle. The good news is, you are in control. You have the power to rewrite your mental programming, to install beliefs that serve you, to develop thought patterns that push you toward greatness. The future you want starts in your mind. Train it, reprogram it, master it, because once you do, success will follow. Chapter 10. The Art of Continuous Reinvention. Evolve or be left behind. The world is changing faster than ever before. Technology, industries, and ways of thinking that were once revolutionary are becoming outdated at an unprecedented rate. What worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. The people who thrive in this ever-changing world are not necessarily the most talented or the most intelligent. They are the ones who know how to reinvent themselves continuously. Reinvention is the ability to adapt, evolve, and upgrade yourself in response to new challenges, opportunities, and knowledge. It is the skill of constantly growing, reshaping your identity, and embracing change rather than resisting it. Those who master this art stay ahead in life, while those who cling to outdated ways of thinking are left behind. Most people fear reinvention because it requires letting go of the old version of themselves. It means stepping into the unknown, embracing discomfort, and challenging beliefs that once felt unshakable. But the truth is, the most successful individuals are not those who remain the same. They are those who repeatedly shed their past selves and evolve into something greater. If you want to build a life of continuous growth and success, you must first develop the mindset of reinvention. Many people are trapped in a fixed identity. They define themselves based on who they were in the past, rather than who they could become in the future. They say things like, "I'm just not a creative person," or "I've never been good at business," or "I'm too old to start something new." These statements are mental prisons. The first step in reinvention is to reject the idea that your identity is fixed. You are not your past experiences, your failures, or your current skill set. You are a work in progress, capable of limitless growth. Every day, you have the opportunity to rewrite your story, upgrade your skills, and redefine what is possible for you. One of the most effective ways to reinvent yourself is to embrace new challenges that force you to grow. Growth does not happen in comfort. If you stay in the same routines, doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts, you will remain the same person. The fastest way to evolve is to put yourself in situations where you have to stretch beyond your limits. Take on projects that intimidate you. Learn skills that seem outside your comfort zone. Seek out experiences that force you to think differently. A major part of continuous reinvention is developing a learning-based identity. Instead of defining yourself by what you already know, define yourself by your ability to learn, adapt, and improve. The most successful people in any field are not the ones who started with the most talent. They are the ones who committed to becoming better every day. When you see yourself as a learner, you become more open to feedback, more willing to try new things, and more adaptable to change. Another key to reinvention is letting go of what no longer serves you. This could be outdated habits, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, or even career paths that no longer align with your purpose. Many people stay stuck in unfulfilling situations simply because they are afraid to start over. But reinvention is about boldly stepping away from anything that holds you back and making room for something greater. A practical way to embrace reinvention is through habit stacking. If you want to become someone new, start by developing small daily habits that align with the future version of yourself. If you want to be a writer, start writing every day. If you want to be an entrepreneur, start thinking and acting like one. If you want to be healthier, start building small, consistent wellness habits. Your habits shape your identity over time. The more you practice something, the more it becomes part of who you are. Another critical aspect of reinvention is being willing to unlearn outdated beliefs. Many people get stuck because they refuse to question long-held ideas that may no longer be true. Just because something worked for you in the past does not mean it will work forever. Be willing to challenge your assumptions, update your perspectives, and replace old ways of thinking with more effective ones. One of the biggest obstacles to reinvention is fear of judgment. People often resist change because they are afraid of what others will think. They fear being seen as inconsistent, losing relationships, or facing criticism for stepping outside their comfort zone. But the reality is, those who truly matter will support your growth, and those who don't were never meant to be part of your journey. You are not obligated to remain the same person just to make others comfortable. Another powerful strategy for reinvention is surrounding yourself with people who are also evolving. Your environment influences your ability to grow. If you spend time with people who embrace change, push their limits, and are constantly improving, you will naturally adopt that mindset. Find mentors, engage with forward-thinking communities, and immerse yourself in spaces that encourage reinvention. To make reinvention a lifelong habit, you must also develop a long-term vision. Instead of thinking about who you are today, think about who you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. What skills will you have mastered? What mindset will you have developed? What impact will you have made? When you have a compelling vision for your future self, it becomes easier to let go of the past and commit to growth. One of the most underestimated aspects of reinvention is the power of resilience. Change is uncomfortable. Growth is messy. There will be setbacks, failures, and moments of doubt. But the key is to keep moving forward, no matter what. Every challenge you overcome makes you stronger. Every setback is a lesson. The people who continuously reinvent themselves are the ones who refuse to let failure define them. Another crucial practice is celebrating small wins along the way. Reinvention is not a single event. It is a lifelong process. It's easy to focus on how far you still have to go, but take time to acknowledge how far you've already come. Every new skill learned, every old habit broken, every mindset shift achieved is a sign of progress. Celebrate your evolution, because every step forward is a step toward the person you are becoming. Remember that reinvention is not about abandoning who you are. It's about evolving into the best version of yourself. The world is filled with people who are afraid to change, afraid to take risks, afraid to challenge themselves. But that is not your path. You are here to grow, to learn, to expand beyond your limitations. Success is not about staying the same. It is about becoming better, smarter, stronger, and more capable every single day. The greatest thing you can do for yourself is to commit to lifelong reinvention. Keep learning, keep evolving, and keep stepping into the highest version of yourself. Because in the end, the people who embrace change are the ones who create their own destiny. Be one of them. Education is not a one-time event. It is not something that ends with school or a diploma. It is a lifelong journey, one that shapes your destiny, builds your character, and unlocks the limitless potential within you. Every day presents an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to elevate yourself to a higher level of success, wisdom, and fulfillment. Throughout this book, we have explored the power of self-education, the necessity of deep learning, the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people, and the ability to reprogram your mind for success. We have broken down the barriers of limiting beliefs, unlocked the power of teaching to reinforce knowledge, and embraced the art of continuous reinvention. Now, the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Many people read books, attend seminars, and consume personal development content, yet never take action. They collect knowledge but fail to apply it. But you are not one of them. You now understand that true learning happens when knowledge meets execution. It is not what you know that changes your life. It is what you do with what you know. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple. Successful people take responsibility for their own growth. They don't wait for life to hand them opportunities. They create them through relentless learning and action. They don't let circumstances define their future. They redefine themselves again and again until they become the person capable of achieving their dreams. If you want to build a life of success, fulfillment, and limitless growth, you must commit to self-education every single day. This commitment is not just about reading books or taking courses. It is about actively seeking wisdom in everything you do. It is about questioning the world, challenging your own perspectives, and continuously upgrading your mindset. Your environment matters. If you want to grow, surround yourself with people who inspire you to think bigger, push yourself harder, and strive for more. Find mentors, learn from experts, and engage in conversations that challenge you. You cannot reach new heights while holding on to people who drag you down. Your habits matter. Success is not about grand gestures. It is about the small, consistent actions you take every day. Make reading a habit. Make critical thinking a habit. Make pushing past your comfort zone a habit. Because what you do daily defines who you become over time. If you commit to daily learning, even in small amounts, you will be amazed at where you will be in 5 years. Your mindset matters. You are not limited by your past, your circumstances, or what others think of you. The only thing that truly limits you is the beliefs you hold about yourself. If you believe that you can grow, learn, and reinvent yourself at any time, then there is no obstacle you cannot overcome. You have the power to rewrite your story at any moment. The only question is, will you? The world belongs to those who never stop learning. Your greatest asset is not money, talent, or connections. It is your ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow. The most successful people in history, from inventors to entrepreneurs, from athletes to artists, have one thing in common. They never stopped evolving. They never settled for what they already knew. They remained students of life, always seeking to refine their skills, expand their understanding, and push beyond their limits. Now, it is your turn. Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Who do you want to become? What skills do you want to master? What impact do you want to make in the world? The answers to these questions will not be found in luck or chance. They will be found in your daily commitment to learning, growing, and reinventing yourself. Educate yourself every day, and your life will transform in ways you never imagined. Your journey starts now. Keep learning, keep evolving, and never stop becoming the best version of yourself.